Hey, collective. So, Taylor Swift just dropped The Life of a Showgirl, and I feel like there's something deeper happening here. It's got to be more than just like pop bangers and the glitz and the glamour, okay? Especially with the visuals, the lyrics, it's just full of theatrical, watery Ophelia imagery. Now, if you felt somewhat of a weird chill when you saw that bathtub shot of her, you're not alone, because I do feel like Taylor's playing with like death, rescue, some feminine archetypes. There's got to be some other things going on. I've picked up on concepts like feminine fragility, missed opportunities, even resurrection of female influence. Okay. So even the timing of her album events seem to coincide with spiritual symbols. So we're going to get into all of that. I want to figure out in this reading, is she sending coded messages to the world? What is it that she's trying to wake up in us? And how may this even ripple throughout her relationship with Travis? Okay. It's been a while since I've done a reading on her. Well, maybe a couple months. I think I did a reading on her when she got engaged. And then the time before that had to have been almost a year. So please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. I'm pretty sure some of you already recognize my voice from the previous channel. This is a brand new channel. My channel got deleted, okay, without warning. So we're working on an appeal for that. In the meantime, please make sure that you are subscribed here. All right. Now, I haven't listened to this album yet. I did want to be kind of like guided through the energy first so that I can decode some of it to just see what she is trying to say, like on a soul level. So let's take a look. Now, the lead single and I think the lead video are The Fate of Ophelia. Now, that kind of reframes Shakespeare's Ophelia not as a passive victim, but more as like a showgirl that's reborn and rescued. Okay. Now, if you know the actual fate of Ophelia, that painting, it's about Ophelia who drowns in like grief and madness after being manipulated and pushed by like male forces. This is where I feel like we're picking up on Taylor's like backstory. Okay. Now the cover art imagery kind of leans into that. Taylor is being portrayed partly underwater or in water, kind of echoing that famous painting. And I feel like in Ophelia's story, she loses agency. She's kind of like silenced, and ultimately she disappears under the weighty male dynamics. Okay. Now, that metaphor right there has long been used in feminist readings of suppressed female voice. Now, and I think that this has to do with her career as well. We've seen her in headlines many times. Like with her legal battles with Scooter Braun, her album, re-recording her album so that she can have total agency over, like her masters and all of that. This is like kind of coming together as almost like she's creating her own lore, I want to say. So follow me, okay? Follow me. We're going to get to it. Now, what else did I want to? Oh, okay. So the album premiered with a special theater release event. So the girlies were out all weekend. I think it was like from Friday to Sunday. You could go see the whole situation like in a special theater situation. Like you could go to the movies and watch like the album video, I guess. I don't know. And this kind of leans into the whole glammed up showgirl aesthetic, which derived from her era's tour moment. Okay. And I wanted to pick up on why she did this because on October 5th, which is when I started this reading, to be honest, but that was the last day. Now, this is a Gnostic holiday. It's also a Greek holiday. So in the Greek culture, they celebrate worshiping like the Holy Spirit because they look at like the feminine energy is just as equal as like the masculine. And in Gnostic practices, which I'm not saying she is someone who is like necessarily endorsing Gnostic, whatever, but this is something about Sophia, okay, the divine feminine, which is all about wisdom in Gnostic myth. Okay, so there is definitely a major archetype here for feminine wisdom, descent, and rebirth. So the timing I don't think is like by accident. Like this has to be all kind of planned out. She's a very thoughtful person, I would think. So the fact that she did this and the last day being like this crazy holiday, I think that also plays into it. Now, what else did I want to get into? Okay, so the phrase showgirl, this evokes performance, spectacle, spotlight, living for an audience. There could be one theory here that she's exploring her identity even as a public figure who has to perform, who maybe is seen but sometimes erased behind the show. Like maybe in her real life, she doesn't have the same agency that she holds on stage. Okay, she's making bold, opulent visuals, the chainmail dresses, the glitzy costuming. It's kind of like armor, okay? But it also shows her vulnerability. Now, another thing that people have always said with Taylor is I feel like they prop her up as being like a part of the feminist movement. And I think in her mind, maybe that is a part of like her persona. But truthfully, like feminism, I mean, I have my own personal opinions about feminism. I may have to do another video on that. Personally, I kind of feel like feminism really doesn't exist, but I don't want to argue with y'all about it. I'm going to keep it going. Okay. So, I think it's a bigger, more fascinating story though, to talk about like the invocation of Sophia, this goddess of wisdom and feminine divine energy, because it does add a layer of the reading that I feel like is going to come through once I get to these questions. Okay. Now, historically, Taylor has woven in Christian and spiritual imagery in the past with subtle kind of new age mystical hints. And I don't think that this is going to be any different. Okay. I do feel like there is something going on here deeper. And I'm so curious because I already see some of these cards that have come out in the pre-shuffle. And I'm just so curious to know what else there may be here as far as like the fate of Ophelia and how she could be trying to use this to her advantage. Okay. I think in the song, The Fate of Ophelia, she sings some line that's like, and if you'd never come for me, I might have drowned in the melancholy. Okay. Oh, Melancholy. Have you guys ever seen that movie? That's like probably one of my top favorite movies. It's like from one of my two favorite directors, Lars Van Noten. Melancholy is with Kirsten Dunst. I don't know why I'm picking up on that. That could be significant, but I feel like that movie is significant. Go watch that movie if you can. I don't think it's on Netflix anymore. It's gone. I hate when they remove shit off of Netflix, but I'm sure you can find it somewhere. Okay. Now that part of the song though, I do feel like that could be positioning Travis as like this rescuer figure, someone who saved her from maybe some emotional abyss. There's also a push-pull moment, like a woman being claimed to have been near ruin, now rescued in love. This is where I feel like it can get dangerous though, because a lot of her songs are based around love, right? But then they're kind of masked with this or layered with this feminist kind of thing. It almost seems like what do you call it? Like a contradiction of some sort. You know what I mean? We're going to get into it, okay? Her album themes, I think, may shift the dynamic between them. Like either they're strengthening the bond through spiritual symbolism, or either they're revealing some deeper tensions if Travis can't hold that archetypal role, and this is where I feel like in the past readings, when it deals with Travis and Taylor, I've picked up on there being a certain level of pressure. Like they have this image and a persona to the world, right? And they are currently playing a specific role. But I wonder if she is putting too much pressure on that. Like maybe she feels like this is her last hoorah. Going back to what I said earlier in the beginning, about like this being like, when you really tie it back to Ophelia, the female fragility and missed opportunities element, I think, is something that she is kind of plagued by. But let's get into these questions, okay? So, of course, I brought up October 5th, the Greek day of Holy Spirit, and the Gnostic Sophia. The card that I pulled first from the celebrity deck was working through karmic lessons in love. Okay, so this is what I mean. I feel like she's still, it's almost like a piece of her soul is still working through these karmic lessons in love, even though she has reached what, you know, the patriarchy, or however you want to describe it, as being like the peak of romance, is like getting engaged to the perfect quote unquote partner and, you know, living your best life. So there's something here about her learning karmic lessons. Maybe she has learned karmic lessons that have brought her to this point, or maybe she still feels trapped by this kind of almost like Ophelia's curse. Okay. Now, the next card that came out was looking in the wrong place, having false hopes and disappointment. Okay. No help here. Now, didn't I mention something earlier about, like, in the intro, about like not having, like, being rescued? Like, maybe Travis could be trying to rescue her, or that's what she wants him to do. That's what she wants a specific male figure to do, to rescue her from these other stifling male energies or dynamics that could be, you know, basically controlling her in some way. We have the mastermind card here as well, designer of intricate plans. Okay, and on this card, it has like a spider. Okay, so you could kind of imagine a spider being somewhat of a great architect. In some ways, you can also think of like the Black Widow kind of energy. There's something about manipulation. Maybe this is also about like her webbing, either having a web of deceit around her. Okay, I don't know. Let's keep going. Safety and security, family. The home card is here. Okay, so there's something here about feeling safe or needing to feel safe. Choose your weapon is also here, deciding to fight, picking sides. You know what this makes me feel like? Somebody fighting, or just having like internal conflicts, you know, wanting to be this strong figure on your own, but then also realizing that you do need a certain balance. So there is a need for like having male support, masculine support in some way. Now, the celebration card is what came out as like the overall underneath the deck. Time of joy, a birth, feast or holiday. Okay, so again, this kind of goes back to the holiday. But I also do feel like ultimately she wants like her fans to celebrate this period that she's in right now. Like, this is an era of celebration. It's not just about the music. I don't know what year this marks for her, as far as like how many years she's been in the business or what album number this is, but I do feel like there could be some significance with that. Somebody in the comments, let me know. Also, I do feel like she is reaching a certain milestone in her life. Like, she's kind of like, she feels like she could be at the end of the road with something. Not like it's ending, but it's more so like reaching, you know, like getting married is a new milestone. So she's going to be opening a new chapter of her life. Okay, so let's find out what is the message that Taylor is embedding in the life of a showgirl that she wants like the collective basically to receive beyond like surface level music. Okay, what is she inviting us to feel? Is this like a warning, healing, or reclamation? I think it's a mix of all of it, to be honest. Oddly, I also feel like this could be some level of her being like, it feels like bittersweet also, which is weird because it should just feel like a celebration, but there's something about it being bittersweet. Maybe she feels like I don't know. Let me not speculate right now. Let me just finish shuffling. All right. Okay, so we have Puppet Masters Fall. The one pulling the strings finally meet their match. Okay. At the top of the deck, we have Art Collection, Private Gallery. Could she have art? Does Taylor have like a significant art collection? I don't know. Tell me, I don't know. Agency Power Struggle. Okay, so agency power struggle, like this is talking about like a company, but I did mention something about having full agency, all right, over her whatever situation. Management firms battle for top talent. Okay, scandalized athlete, fallen hero caught in controversy. Okay, this is interesting. So now, oddly, I'm picking up on the fact of like them being able to save each other from something. Maybe with, oh God, I'm hearing Captain Planet. Like with our powers combined, like I don't know why, something about like them being able to offer each other something that the other doesn't have. So maybe she has like agency within a certain realm of her music career, but being tied to Travis allows her maybe, okay. So it almost, this is going to sound terrible, but so you know how you have handlers in the music industry. When you get married, maybe as a female artist, when you get married, maybe they don't have the same access to you anymore because your man actually has more agency over everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to say he controls her business dealings or whatever, but maybe he also shields her in a way from being like, you know, maybe gawked at a certain level or even abused in some way. Like there could be something here about that. And I'm also not, okay, so this is also strange. It's almost like she wants everybody to celebrate this union because it's like she's safe. I don't know. That's what I'm picking up on, but that's what I'm hearing. Okay. I could also not be explaining this properly, but it's something about like, yay, I'm okay now. Like, be happy for me. What? Okay. Anyway, let's keep going. Is the Sophia timing intentional energetically? Is this like something she's invoking, a feminine wisdom rebirth for herself and her audience, maybe? Okay, it's also something about like you can be powerful in a relationship still. Because maybe, you know, her message has been about being a feminist. Okay, maybe that has been a part of it, but it's not been in the way that people maybe think it is on a surface level. This is a very strange reading. This is actually the weirdest reading I've done with her. Most of her readings, oddly, I do them around like the full moon. Oddly, I don't know how that always happens like that, but it is a thing. All right, so we have symbology, using numbers, codes, and symbols to activate or suppress power. So the Sophia situation, the October 5th, is significant. This is definitely something that she did with intention. Then we have retired champion, legacy at a crossroads. Okay, so she's going to be, this is like marking the beginning of the end. And not end in like she's never going to do this again. But it is some type of like, she wants us to celebrate her reign. And I have said in my other readings with her that she is like the top of the food chain as far as music is concerned. Energetically, not just because of like, okay, yes, the amount of money that she's able to make, whatever, like her sales and all of that. That's a part of it. But it's also, she is like the high priestess of the music industry. Hence the reason why you see celebrities, they will support her album and promote it almost as if like they've been told to do it. Not saying that they have, but it's almost like they're putting in their little, I don't know how to explain it. Like they're putting in their dues or something. I don't know. Their respects, they're paying their respects to her by doing that. Okay. So when you see, say, Nicki Minaj stop her little rage on Twitter just to promote Taylor Swift during her album release, that's on purpose, okay? Other celebrities do that as well. Then you have stolen intellectual property. This is underneath the puppet master's fall. Stealing ideas, lyrics, or concepts from smaller creators, creative thief, plagiarism, okay? Then we have tabloid target. Now, mind you, that stolen intellectual property, we already know that happened with her album. And then like underneath that came, it came underneath the puppet master's fall. Okay. The one pulling the strings finally meet their match. Something about her being married changes stuff for her legally, I think. I don't know. Somebody let me in the comments know, but there's something about like, there could be some type of clause in her contract that makes it different. I don't know if she has access to more things in a certain way because she's married or going to be married, but there's something about that. Spiritual warfare card came out, and this is underneath the agency power struggle. Okay, so I do feel like this has to do with something, okay, that she's always had to deal with in the industry. I do feel like, of course, I just said that she's like one of the high priestess, like the high priestess of the music industry. So with that comes with her battling a lot. I've talked about this in my other readings on the channel or whatever. So let's move on. Okay, is she like reclaiming? Well, I feel like, is she reclaiming that fractured feminine narrative? Or is she warning about the dangers she's felt? Like, what's going on there? This could be like just her way of storytelling also. Like, we know she's a great storyteller. But I feel like this album is definitely more significant, even more so than the other ones, because it is telling the story of like maybe even the fate that she was supposed to have. She may have been met with certain challenges to where she would have had a bad ending, or that was what was planned for her, and she overcame those things. She overcame like certain obstacles. Okay, so how does the energy of the album have on her, like what does the impact of the album's energy have on her current path with Travis? Is it about harmony, conflict, transformation? All right, fame turned fatal. Okay, what did I just say? Fame turned fatal. This is a motive card. Something about like if she hadn't gotten married at a certain time, if she hadn't, and it's not about the marriage part, it's again about a masculine support system. If she didn't have a certain masculine support system right now, she would have been met with a certain fate. And there's also something I'm weirdly picking up on, like all the men in her life in the past have wanted a piece of her in some way. Like I'm even picking up on like a father figure. I don't know if it's her father, but I'm picking up a father figure. Like every male who's ever been in her life. Is there some weird like significance about her father? Someone tell me again, because I don't know. I have no idea. But it seems like every male has either wanted something from her, wanted to take something from her, or wanted her to be under control so that they could siphon her energy in some way. This actually feels kind of sad right now. Hold on. What impact will this album and the energy of it like have on her current path with Travis? Okay, we have the Hecate card come out. I already told you this girl she literally might even be some type of reincarnation of Hecate or some shit like that. I don't know. But there's been talk about her being like Anton LaVey's daughter because of how she looks or whatever. I'm not trying to get into that. I'm just saying that she's the high priestess of the music industry. I don't care how y'all feel about it. You don't even have to like her, but that's just whatever the case is. Okay. All right. Is there karmic material being played out here? Like, is there something about mischances, female fragility, public forgiveness? What's going on? All right, we have canceled project, an abrupt end to plans or opportunities. What did I just say? That is crazy. Okay, there have been times or opportunities that have been missed, which somebody could say, like, that's crazy. She hasn't missed a beat. Like, her whole career has been successful. There's things that go on behind the scenes that have like greatly shifted things for her. Okay, and she's trying to tell us about it. I'm gonna have to listen to the album. Somebody let me know in the comments. Is the album good? Let me know in the comments, is the album good? All right. Are there any hidden warnings or prophetic visions in this release about relationships, power, or identity that she could be sending out? Skin suits. What? Skin suits? Fake social media followers, bot fame, bots, or purchase boost. Okay, that's random. Or maybe not so random. I think this also has something to do with like the powers that be. They have some type of vested interest on her being successful. Like, they will do anything, put any amount of money into it. So while she can garner her own success on her own, they also give her extras. So there could be something here about like bots and followers or whatever. But you know what also is interesting about this too? When her album came out on Friday, my YouTube was full of Taylor Swift. Like, not like, oh, I'm clicking on the videos, so it's coming up in my recommended or anything like that. Like, you know how they promote people? I'd be forgetting about, like, isn't it weird that Taylor Swift, I feel like it's her and maybe one or two other artists who can buy into YouTube in such a way to where like they promote the album almost like it's iTunes, you know, like, so where it's like you have to see Taylor Swift at the top. It was like something about like, oh, experience the album, and had all her pictures and all her, it's like, it was like a whole different specific banner that they created for her. There is some reason behind that. It goes beyond just like, okay, yeah, we want to make sure that everybody sees the album, blah, blah, blah. You shouldn't actually be able to do that. If you think about it, like, you should not be able to force people into watching. Like, they should be able to organically discover the album. But anyway, that's just a personal opinion. But definitely something about like the powers that be about that. What was I asking? Something about like prophetic visions. Are there any hidden warnings or prophetic visions in this release that we need to know about? All right, we have, oh my God, the last card in this little cube is staged suicide. Staged suicide. Oh, okay. So remember, Ophelia's curse. Remember, in that story, Shakespeare's original story, Ophelia was driven by madness, and then she ended up killing herself somehow. Like, she drowned in a lake or some shit. I feel like with this marriage, or maybe it has nothing to do with Travis. Maybe it just has to do with where she is mentally, whatever. She could be killing off an aspect of herself because, okay, so it's almost like how, remember when Britney Spears shaved off her head and her whole exclamation about it was like, oh, I don't want them touching me anymore. And it was like her way of not wanting to be attractive to people in the industry anymore because she didn't want to be taken advantage of anymore. There's something about this stage suicide. It's like she's staging her own spiritual suicide so that she doesn't have to do something, give up something, be something. Okay, so she's doing something where she's playing that out right now. She's using the energy of Ophelia. I still feel like there's something more to this, though. I don't really understand it. You guys let me know in the comments if you are if you're picking up what I'm putting down as far as this, because this is kind of a strange reading. I feel like this is probably also like the darkest her readings has ever gotten with me, because most of her energy is pretty like light and airy, and we just be talking about Travis or whatever. So I don't know. How will this album affect her personal life? Because it's still not being clear. How will this album affect her personal life with Travis? Does he have some type of role as the rescuer archetype that we've seen in the video? Okay. So we have the accepting card here. The only person you can change is yourself. Accepting. Okay, so she could be accepting herself. Then the embrace card is underneath that. Embrace what destiny has in store for you. Okay, there could even be something here about where she has maybe even stifled her own, not growth. People probably around her have stifled her own growth as far as like becoming a woman or a certain type of woman. But there's something about like her embracing this new chapter of life that's going to take her out of what we normally see her in, whatever that is. I don't even know what I'm saying as far as that. That's what I'm hearing though. Okay. Is this era like a ritualized like narrative? Who benefits, like the artistry brand, and who pays the cost, basically? Like privacy, relationship pressure. What is going on? Attachments. Simplify your life. Underneath the deck, we have receptive. Be ready to receive what fate has planned for you. So again, there's a lot here about like acceptance, being receptive, fate, destiny. Like this is crazy to me. Okay, so she's like accepting her fate. Maybe she's also accepting her fate within the industry as far as like her being the artist on top. Like maybe it's time for somebody else. Like, I don't know, Sabrina Carpenter or somebody. I mean, they're not the same at all, but you get what I'm saying? It's like maybe she's about to like pass the torch to someone. Or it's not even about passing the torch. Maybe it's just, again, about her moving from this era into something new where we haven't seen her before. Like we've never seen her. We're about to see her in a different space than we've ever seen her before. Okay. Okay. Last question, and then we're gonna close out. Should the collective listen to this album like on emotional intuition mode, like beyond the lyrics? Should we be paying attention to those lyrics? What guidance is in there? Remarkable. Oh, this is crazy. On this card, it shows like 2 rings, 2 gold rings, music, like, written music, and a rose. Notice everything remarkable about your relationships. Okay. So she could be, there could be a lot of love songs on here, or a lot of themes around love, but there could also just be something hidden within the lyrics. So you guys let me know. Have you listened to the album? Let me know if it is any good. And what are you getting from it? Okay. What do you guys think? Is Life of a Showgirl an artistic triumph? Maybe some type of coded manifesto, or maybe both. I don't know. Is Taylor reclaiming her feminine tragedy and turning it into a heroic resurrection? Because also, too, I'm thinking about it, and I think the consensus is that in the past that she's had like failed relationships, like she could be cursed because, or like what's wrong with Taylor that she can't keep a man or whatever, like something about that. So maybe she's coming out of that. Maybe she's completely like writing her own story right now. Okay. Specifically that Ophelia, Sophia arc, there could have something to do with that and how it relates to Taylor and Travis. I feel like if you guys want me to do part 2, let me know in the comments. Okay. Hit the like button and subscribe button. Drop your first impression of the videos. let me know if you like this deep dive. Okay. I will see you guys in the next one. All right. Bye.